Gold Spun right towards the left of the picture is not far off the lead either. Migrator, Mr. Moonraker, Gold Spun. Gold Spun, in fact, landed in the lead from Migrator. Mr. Moonraker, Wallow Will taking a very strong hold, very promising over on the far side. Just in behind him is Amorach. The back marker at the moment is the Knife. Now on this long run to the second flight, Migrator from Gold Spun and Wallow Will and Mr. Moonraker. And then very promising and Seamer and Amorach, and Stands Pride in the Knife at the second. Migrator and Gold Spun from Wallow Will and Mr. Moonraker, and Amorach and very promising, and Stands Pride and Seamer and the Knife. Going a fairly conservative pace at the moment. Migrator from Gold Spun and Wallow Will and Mr. Moonraker and Seamer, and very promising and Stands Pride, and Amorach and the Knife. Migrator from Gold Spun and Wallow Will as they run down to the third. Then in very close contention behind them are very promising and Seamer and Mr. Moonraker, then Amorach and Stands Pride and the Knife. Migrator, Gold Spun and Wallow Will, very promising as they jump the fourth. Then Seamer, Mr. Moonraker, Stands Pride, Amorach, and the Knife finding this pace too warm for him now. As they run down to this flight at the bottom of the hill. Wallow Will on the inside of Migrator, a little between the two as they jump it. Just behind them, Gold Spun. Then very promising. Then Stands Pride towards the outside. Then Seamer and Mr. Moonraker and Amorach. Amorach still in close touch. Third last. Wallow Will there from Migrator. Very promising on the inside of Gold Spun. Stands Pride. Then comes Seamer, Amorach, and Mr. Moonraker. Long run to the second last flight in this Tia Maria Bula hurdle as they run downhill. Wallow Will on the inside of Migrator. Then very promising and Gold Spun and Stands Pride. Then comes Seamer and Amorach and Mr. Moonraker. Coming down to this second last now, Migrator. From Wallow Will on the inside, Gold Spun on the far side, just landed in the lead though. Gold Spun, Stands Pride, Migrator, very promising, coming there strongly. Then Wallow Will, then Seamer, and Amorach improving in behind these. Rounding the home turn now, with one flight left to jump. Gold Spun in the lead from Stands Pride and Migrator. Then comes Seamer, then Wallow Will and Amorach still improving. Coming down to the final flight, Gold Spun in the lead from Stands Pride. Then comes very promising as they come down to the last flight in the Tia Maria Bula hurdle. Gold Spun being pressed by Stands Pride. Amorach coming there very strongly on the stand side. Gold Spun landed in the lead. Seamer was a faller there, racing into the closing stages. Gold Spun with Amorach coming very strongly with very promising on the stand side as well. Amorach beginning to get up on the near side now as they race up towards the line. Gold Spun on the far side, but Amorach has taken it up, and as they race towards the line, a brilliant victory for Amorach. Amorach is the winner. Amorach is the winner from Gold Spun in second and third, very promising. And just behind them came Stands Pride and Migrator, and behind them Wallow Will, and behind Wallow Will was Mr. Moonraker. The faller at the last got up on his feet all right. Seamer, his rider, you probably saw, didn't hardly lost his feet at all. He ran from the scene of the disaster. The vital question here will be whether there was interference between Amorach and very promising after they jumped the last. Whether young Jimmy Duggan there